Hey, everybody, this is Jeff Livingston, and I am with Cognitive Path. I'm talking today with Stephen Moss, co founder and CTO of Mendit. How are you today, Stephen?
I'm great, thank you.
Very good. Now, you flew all the way here from Seattle, right?
Yeah, from Seattle.
All right, so how do you like being in the other Washington in peak bloom autumn?
It is absolutely amazing in here. We love it.
Yeah, definitely. Seattle's also very cool and pretty as well. Now, before we dive into our questions, what is Mendit?
So Mendit.ai is a company that's focused on novel fraud use cases that have been enabled by the prevalence of generative AI systems.
Interesting. And you guys deal with content, right? And obviously, we have a big content ecosystem out there with AI. It's actually getting more and more populated with content, the internet I'm speaking of. You guys talk about polluted content a lot. For everybody's sake, can you define what polluted content is?
Certainly. So polluted content is basically content that was generated solely to influence an algorithm or an outcome, rather than inform or be useful.
So basically, what Instagram influencers are doing all day.
I wouldn't be able to say, but
Yeah, I understand. I put you in a bad spot with that. But yeah, sure. I mean, in the content marketing world, a lot of people engineer content to specifically rank in Google or some other form of an algorithm. So that makes a lot of sense. So why is it important to spot polluted content?
So we talked about generative AI before, and with the generative AI systems being scaled right now, what we're seeing is that this data that is the polluted content, right, that gets generated, ends up back into the data that businesses use to make decisions. And so what you end up with is essentially a feedback loop that, if left unchecked, leads to potentially bad decisions made by businesses or consumers. And a good example of that would be the 2023 Wall Street Journal report, where they indicated that consumers that read fake reviews would be more likely to purchase a product that the website which recommended against purchasing.
Oh, so that's kind of interesting. It's almost like a snake eating its own tail, right? Training itself on itself, and then everybody gets bad information.
Yes.
Oh, very interesting. So how do you approach that? Like, what's different about what you're doing?
Our approach, the way we differentiate ourselves, is that we don't just say this is polluted content. We fully explain why, and we're not able to just give you a little flag that says polluted. We're able to fully show all of the traits of that content that indicate that was generated to influence an algorithm.
Interesting. So it has a explainability to it. Can you discuss what explainability is? I think most people here know, but just in case they don't.
Certainly. So explainability just means that when you look at the model, you show the very specific parts of the input that created a decision by the model. You don't just kind of give out, hey, this is why, this is what the model thinks.
This is what the answer is, right?
Yeah.
And I think ChatGPT, more than any, is probably a little guilty of that. Although, no commentary about ChatGPT. I use Claude
Yeah.
quite a bit. And Claude will say, I came up with this answer. Here's how I did it, right? Which is a little bit of that explainability. And then Perplexity will actually provide links, right? What is the right depth of explainability in your mind?
So within what I like to do with that sort of explainability is there's a sort of a difference between grounding, which is providing a link or showing what the specific location where your sources are would have been, and kind of indicating the reason why a model made a decision. And that's because we don't use generative AI. We use zero-shot classification.
Okay.
And yeah.
So a little bit of ML.
Yeah, so it's still large language models, but they're used slightly differently in a way that kind of is able to kind of surface all of these traits that we're talking about that makes polluted content.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, when you get into this, what's the importance of finding this bad content, if you would? Not, I wouldn't say bad content, but say polluted content,
Yep.
and correcting it. Why is that important?
So the importance comes from us being able to kind of create content for consumers.
Can we? We're gonna re-ask that last question. Okay. Right. So back to explainability. Why is it important to find polluted content and then replace it?
So going back to explainability, the reason why it's important to find and explain why content is polluted is so that businesses are able to kind of fine tune their safeguards. Some level of the explanation might make sense for a business, but some others might not. So us being able to kind of all of us being able to find the content, but also explain why that content is polluted allows people to make decisions, informed decisions, based off of their business needs and based off of the outcomes that they're looking for.
That makes a lot of sense. So when you think about government and voice, obviously in AI, we have two different conferences co-located. Do you see application for government at all?
We see some applications. I would love to discuss with anybody that would like to see if there's any potential for polluted content to make a detection of polluted content to make a difference.
Sure, absolutely. So let's move out to the bigger picture, and if we're to look down the road, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, where do you see this moving?
So when you look, 2-3 years down the road, we see generative AI, especially multimodal models that are able to kind of interpret and generate audio, video, images, text. They will make attacks a lot easier to perform and it a lot more scalable. But at the same time, we're making sure that businesses have the right defenses and adaptable models that are able to kind of identify those attacks as well.
Okay, interesting. So, do you see a cybersecurity element to this then?
Yeah, definitely. In the future, I think there's going to be a lot of applications for this technology within cybersecurity as well.
Okay, wow, that's pretty cool. So it seems like we're going to be moving into a world where we have AI working with AI, really to make sure that we have kind of the right environment for humans in a lot of ways. So a lot of backside work, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool. And how long have you been building the Mendit solution to get there?
So we've been at it for about a month or two, just kind of making sure, hands down, making sure that all of this is working well. But yeah, we're really excited for the future, and we're really excited for the product.
Well, I know that the world needs your solution, so I'm looking forward to it being out there and hopefully getting some better information and data. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, one quick question. I'm asking everybody this before they break, and it's just a little bit of a softball, but what's your favorite AI app that nobody knows about that they should?
Well, my favorite AI app would be our product first, obviously. But that being said, my next favorite one that I think everybody should know about is the Modify app.
The Modify app.
Yeah. It's an online image editor.
Okay, very cool. That's very cool. So you like it better than Midjourney and all those other ones like DALL-E?
Yeah, I personally enjoy it more.
All right, I'm checking that one out because I've had it with Midjourney. No offense. All right, very good. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much as well.